Darnell, obviously we know it's disappointing the way the season ended, so I want to focus more so on next year. Over the last two seasons, I don't know if you know, but you're ninth amongst D-men in 5-on-5 points. So obviously you've produced more. But the team as a whole, your 5-on-5 goals against has basically been the exact same. How does your team collectively as a group lower your goals against 5-on-5? What do you think's missing there?
Uh, that's for us, it's been a focus. It's got to continue to be a focus. I mean, it's not something that's just going to happen overnight. So I think that we've been more consciously worrying about our D zone, more consciously worrying about keeping pucks out of our own net. But that needs to continue to be a focus. Like I said, I think that it's something that we're definitely trying to work on. Something that we definitely need to be better at. And as long as we put in good reps and have it as a focus in our game, and know that the offense will take care of itself. That's what's ultimately going to be the difference between us sitting here now and us still playing.
Next question to Mark Spector. Mark, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead.
Yeah, Darnell. Tell us how your week's been, sort of where your head's been at. Have you had a chance to dig in on the series with Chicago, and did you reveal anything to yourself about why, as a group, you guys just weren't the same team you were during the season? Have you figured anything out?
To be honest, I mean, like, you sit down the first couple of days, probably sit down and think about it, try to solve the issues of the world. But yeah, look, it didn't go how any of us wanted it to go. It didn't. We all want to be still playing hockey right now. We can sit here week after week, digging ourselves into a hole and beating ourselves up over it, or we can learn from what we went through, and that's everyone's pissed off about it. I think that's the best way to describe it. But I mean, like I said, you beat yourself over the head with it for weeks. And is that gonna bring you back in a better mind state and a better mind frame, or is it gonna affect you in your goals for next season? So yeah, there's a taste in everyone's mouth that's very that no one likes, and you need to find a way to not have that taste. And we've had it 4 out of 5 years here, so we know we need to be better.
Next question again, Jason Gregor. Jason, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead.
Darnell, just kind of further expand on the defensive zone coverage. I know that you and a lot of other guys have a skills coach, and you work on going back and getting pucks or offensive stuff. Can you work like as an individual on team defense in the summer? Is that possible? Does it film work with the coach, or is that something that really has to happen in training camp collectively together?
Yeah, it's in the summertime you can work more on one-on-one more than anything. I think it's tough because you get into the summer, you're training with a bunch of different guys. They all play different systems, so it's tough to go out there and if you're covering a guy that usually another guy that you're training with is used to covering, like it's pretty pointless. So a lot of that just goes into film. It goes into watching all our games over the course of the season, and then coming into camp and working on it. Like that's where you make the most strides, is when you're able to work on it as a team, and get those reps in when training camp comes around. But yeah, I think that the biggest thing when it comes to summer, I mean, it's watching film. That's probably the best way to work on your team defense. And other than that, it's more of a one-on-one component.
Next question to Daniel Nugent-Bowman. Go ahead, Daniel.
Darnell, obviously last year you guys being where you were in the standings, and you jumped from there to fifth in the Western Conference. But Ken Holland was saying the other day that it's one thing to make that leap, but it's an entire other thing to go from that where you are now to the true elite of the league. Do you get a sense of how close you are or how far away you are from that point? What do you think about that, and what's kind of maybe missing in terms of getting the Oilers to being a true contender every year?
Yeah, I think obviously to make the improvement that we made during the regular season. I mean, if anyone, we were sitting there at the beginning of the year just listening to person after person after person talked about how we were going to be one of the worst teams in the Western Conference, and then to have the ability to play the way we did over the course of the regular season, put ourselves in a position where we had the fifth most points in the conference. I think if any of us said that we would have the opportunity to get into the playoffs after how everyone was talking about us at the beginning of the season, we would have been excited to know that we would have the opportunity. But I think that once you get there and have the taste of playing in those meaningful games at the end of the season, getting there isn't enough. I think that's the taste everyone has in their mouth now. Yeah, it was great to get to the point where we were in this bubble and playing for our lives every night, but we weren't at the level that we needed to be to extend it.
Another question for Jason Gregor. Jason, go ahead as soon as your microphone's unmuted.
Darnell, you and Ethan Bear, I was looking at the numbers, played like almost 90% of your time together, and continuity is huge for everybody. Just maybe talk about the growth you felt as a duo and where you feel you two specifically can go next season, expecting that you'll play together again.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of growth from obviously Bears. He kind of got thrust into a position there early on in the year where he just took off and had a great year. And I think as a D pair, it was always nice to look over and know the guy that you're playing with and know where he's going to be on the ice. He kind of got to that point by the end of the year. So yeah, I think it was definitely a year where we had a lot of growth as a pair, and it's exciting to have that we'll have the opportunity to hopefully do it again next year.
Thank you. At this time, we do have another question from Donna Spencer, the Canadian Press. Donna, go ahead.
Darnell, I'm just curious how you feel about the 2014 playoff this year. Is it something that you think the league should consider going ahead, or should it just be a one-off?
Well, I think it was a great situation for the time. I think obviously with how crazy this year's been for everyone, not just hockey players or sports players. I think it was a great idea for the time, but for the time being and making the most of a situation that wasn't ideal for anyone. But yeah, it'd be nice to go back to the 16-team format and just play like normal and get back to that format. But I did like the fact that we played 1 through 8. I think that was a good touch to it.